Welcome back to the Venom Workshop. So today what we're going to teach you how to do is how to change the whole triple tree. We're going to take it right out, the whole fork set. We're going to take out of this bike here. So I'm going to get my hoist. We'll get it up into position and we'll start taking everything off. It's not going to be an easy job. There's some work involved here. Like, I'm not going to try to deceive you. Like, we have a lot to do. Because when we change something like the forks, we have to take off, we're going to be taking off all these fairings, both sides, because I also want to remove the exhaust because I have to get it up on my lift and the exhaust is in the way. We have to remove our handlebars, top of the triple tree here. Our ignition's going to have to come out. But once the fairings are off and the handlebars are just hanging down, oh, excuse me, then it won't be too bad. We're also going to have to take the brake calipers off the front wheel. So like I said, it's going to be quite a bit of work. So I'm going to get all my tools together here, and then we're going to get started. So like I said, it isn't a small job by any means, because we have to get our bike up, and we're actually getting down to replacing a major part of the bike, which is the steering system. So this is, like I said, it's not going to be an easy job, but, well, I'm not saying it's going to be hard, but it's going to take some time. So let's go ahead and get started here, and let's get this job done. All right, so let's get started. We're not going to need much to begin with for tools. Let's start on the other side first. So first thing we're going to do is take the seat off. That's pretty normal stuff. I've taken these fairings off so many times, so if it doesn't sound like I've already unlocked mine, but you have to go over here, pop the sheet off, get it out of the way, and then we're going to remove that side fairing. Go ahead and make sure to put your keys back, or at least put them in your pocket or something so you don't lose them. And then we'll start taking the fairings off this side. I'm only going to do one side, or I'm only going to do one side on camera, just to show you really quick how to get the fairings off. And then I'll do the other side off camera. All right, let's get started. So you're going to need a metric Allen key set to get these Allen keys out. These are a number 4. This one here has a nut behind it, so you can reach around and just grab it. Then we're gonna have to take out, there's a screw right here to Phillips. And then there's another one directly under here. And we can move forward this way. Take our top ones off first. Before I take any more off, I'm going to pull this panel off here, because there's one right behind here. There's one here and one here. And there's a nut behind it, so you can put your 2 fingers back there and grab it. And just put the nut back on it, so when you have to put it back on, same with this one. take out the one with the tank here. This one again has a nut on it. We're going to come forward, we're going to take this one off. Again, there's a nut on this one as well. Take that. In behind here, there should be a screw, but I guess it didn't get put back in the last time I was working on this, or somebody was. So, but there should be a screw there. So now we're gonna go down to the bottom. So this fairing is almost ready to come off. But before we take it off, we're gonna come down here, and then there's gonna be a couple screws. There's one bolt underneath here that holds it, so we're gonna take it off too. And then 2 screws right here and here. And then there's an Allen bolt there, number 4. We're gonna wanna take it out too. And once we take those all out, then that whole front section of the fairing is gonna come off. And then you can go do the other side, and I'm gonna go do the other side. And we'll get it all apart. Okay, now I'm going to take the one off that's at the bottom here, and there's a nut on the other side of that. So, oh, I've got the nut on this side. Go. Okay, so that's out. Okay, so now we have to take out this one, and there should be a notch on the back of that. Yep. Or no, it's a clip actually. Sorry about that. There's somebody just not paying attention walking through the warehouse, sir. There we go. Alrighty. Now we're gonna start pulling over the fender a little bit here, like that. So that comes right off. Now we can move this piece out of the way. Make sure you put it up and put it on its back so nobody steps on it or breaks it. So now I'm going to go to the other side. I'm going to take it off by myself. It's going to be the exact same way that I took this side off, and we'll kind of go from there. All right, so now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the exhaust off. You'll need a 25 mil ratchet to take it off, and you'll also need a wrench. You can't get a ratchet on the other side. Okay, so I'm gonna get my wrench here. All right, so now we have another one down here has to come out. It's again at 25 mil. I'm gonna leave that one in just a touch, just so when I take this last bolt off the back here, another one right here, again 25 mil, but you're gonna need a wrench for the back of this one. It's weird, it seems like a muffler should be on the inside of this. I don't know why it's on the outside. There we go. That's really in there, but I'm gonna pull it out no matter what. There we go. Now we can take out the last one down at the bottom. Oops. Then we can just pop our whole exhaust straight off. Right off to the side. And out of the way. And I'm going to keep my muffler bolt and nut together. Okay. Throw that in our dish. Now everything is all exposed. So now I can get my lift underneath and lift up the front of the bike. So I'm going to go ahead and get my lift there now. And I'll be right back. I removed this other fairing on here. I'm going to take it off on the other side too. So I'll show you how to do that. It's not real difficult, but you're going to need your Phillips screwdriver here. So we'll come around and we're going to have to unplug this signal light. But there's going to be 3 screws we have to take off. There's one right on the inside of here. It's just a regular Phillips screw, very easy to take out. There we go. We have this Phillips here. And technically this one should be out because you took it out on the other side. And I was supposed to take it out too, but I just forgot. So we'll take this one off. And again, there should be a nut under there. That. There we go. Oh, sorry. There's one more Phillips screw. magnets right behind here. So right here. Get my hand in there. There we go. Then we take it down. Then we can just unplug it, and I'll show you how to plug it back in and where the wires go. Now that we got that off, now we can start taking off our handlebars. That'll be the next thing to come off. So next, for the handlebars, we're going to want to take out these bolts here, here and here on both sides, and then we can just lift this handlebar right off. So we'll need our Allen key set. That should be a number 6 if I'm not mistaken. Okay, and we can just take that off and let it hang down like that, and then we'll go to the other side. Okay, we can lift that off like that. Just like that. And now we can go ahead, we can also loosen our triple tray. You don't have to take these bolts out, just loosen them. We'll loosen the other side. And if you find these bolts are really tight, that's a good thing. You want these bolts to be really tight. They hold all your triple tree together. So now we have to take out that center bolt. So we're going to do that. Great. So let's loosen this one. It's a 22 mil, by the way. Let's take this one out. Now you should be able to pull this up just like this. You might have to lift this up too with it so you can get it right off. It's just because the way the hoses are holding inside there. Don't mind that I have my throttle control off. I took it off for the parts guys so they can get a measurement. Okay, now that that's off, we can just leave all that lay forward. We don't need to take it off the bike because all we're trying to get to right here is this bolt right here, or nut, sorry, not this nut, this nut. So we're going to take that off now. And when we take this off, you're going to notice there your forks, as we take that nut off, start lowering down. And then they'll come right off. So I'll show us how to do that. Right now I'm just going to get a hammer and a screwdriver and I'll be right back. Okay, so before we take this nut off here, what I'm going to want to do is remove my brakes. So we're going to come down here, and I'm going to do this side, and then you guys can do the other side. But you're going to see what I need to do. First off, you want to take off this 14 mil bolt right here. Ooh, and it's tight. I'm going to get my impact gun, I think. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead, like I said, and I'll loosen them both off. Just gonna grab my impact gun here real quick. You might notice with brakes that they're very on there very well, and that's a good thing. They do that on purpose. Yeah, I'm gonna go get my bigger impact gun, and I'll be right back. All right, so I went ahead and loosened those off. Now, I'm gonna want to take my number 4 Allen key and loosen this. This holds the brake lines on. Now we can go ahead and take our bolts out so we can remove the caliper. There. Now we'll go to the other side. We're going to do the exact same thing. You can go ahead and do it on the other side all by yourself, and then I'll meet you back here. Okay, so another thing we're going to have to do is, this is our speed transducer line. So right down here, it comes up off the wheel, and that's what tells everything how fast it's going. So we're going to want to snip the zip ties that are holding it. And we can always put those back on. Just like that. And then you're going to follow that plug up all the way to behind the dash. I'm feeling it there. Because we're going to want to unplug it. So we're going to go to the other side so I can take a look. I want to unplug, I said, just this line here, because when we remove the forks off the bike, this line's going to come with it. So I'm going to reach up underneath here and I'll find it and I'll disconnect it. Runs over the frame here. Yep, there it is. Right here. That goes up behind the headlight here, I think. Yep. Go up there. There we go. And here's the plug. It's in my hand. Have to find it here. Just give me one sec. I'm just trying to get it off so I can lift it down. Okay, so I'm just, like I said, reaching up in here. I got the plug now. There it is. And we're just going to disconnect it. This is the wire I'm talking about. Like I said, that's for your speed transducer. Now our brakes are off, speed transducer is off, and we can take off the forks. Now, what we're going to need to do, take off the forks now, is we have to take this spanner bolt off. Now, if you don't have the spanner, that's fine. A flat screwdriver like this and a hammer, and we can loosen that. It's almost off. I mean, I come back in a sec when somebody's not revving their machine like that. Okay, I think they got over their excitement and they're done revving again. So let's go back and we'll keep going with our nut here. Now underneath here, there's going to be some bearings and stuff, so you want to be very careful with your bearings when you're taking it out. There's going to be bearings on the bottom as well. So I was wearing gloves, I probably would have turned that off now. Maybe set a glider, see if I can start turning it, because it's turning easy now. There we go. There we go. And now my forks are almost out, but before I start doing all that, see these bearings? I'm going to take these bearings out and I'm going to put them on a piece of cardboard or something. These are good bearings, there's nothing wrong with them. That's pretty packed in there, so it should be all right. So now I'm going to have to jack up the bike, and oh, here goes the revving again. I'll be right back. All right, so I'm back. So these bearings are fine. I don't have anything to worry about. They're not going to get knocked out, which is what I was worried about. But I'm going to check them real good. Oh yeah, these are good. I can leave them in there. They won't get knocked out. So there's going to be a set down on the bottom as well. So I don't know if you can see that. I'm going to take it down to show you. So right down there, you're going to see another set of bearings there that are really well greased. Make sure those are well greased. And now I'm going to jack up the bike so I can go ahead and get the forks out again. Because the forks aren't going to want to come out. They're not going to slip out because the bike is just not high enough. So let me jack it up here and I'll be right back. Okay, so now we're going to raise the bike up a bit so we can get that triple tree off. Perfect. Now, if you look, our triple tree is well extended out of there. You'll notice I put a board in front of the front wheel so it just didn't come careening out of there. So now, we're going to remove our wood, and we're going to slip it down and out. And then once you get it down to about this far, you're going to notice a 10 mil bolt here. So So again, I'm going to put my piece of wood so the wheel doesn't move forward. That just holds your brake line on. So I'm going to go ahead and take off that 10 mil. Here's the 10 mil I'm talking about. There we go. And I can go ahead and get back up so I can lift my brakes out and over my fender. Now when you do that, if your fender's on, just be careful you don't scratch it. Don't let the brakes actually touch it. Now we can let this slide right out, just like that. And that's it. That's our triple tree right here. I was mentioning that there's bearings. So the bearings are right there. If they're in good shape, leave them. Like, these are all in good shape. There's none missing. I don't see any flat spots on them. When we do put it back in, I'm going to give it a good dollop of grease. But other than that, that's it. So I'm just going to put this off to the side. Kind of looks like a unicycle. Like that. That's out of the way. Now we can see our bike, what it looks like with the triple tree off. Everything's off, the forks are off, and we can take a good look at everything. While it's off, this is a good time to take a look at everything. You can look at how your handlebars are, bearings, look down inside that shaft there, see if there's anything damaged down inside there. And then we're gonna get ready and we're gonna put it back on and we're gonna get everything put back together. But that's basically it, how to take it apart. It's not hard. It's just a lot of work because you have to rip so much stuff off the bike. But other than that, like I said, working on these bikes is not hard. Everybody is always worried about how hard it is. It's not hard. You just have to have some patience. Okay, so let's start getting everything back together. Okay, so before we put our triple tree back on, what I want you to do is get a good dollop of grease. And we're going to put some grease in these bearings. And you can see that there's already grease in there. I don't care. I like a lot of grease to make sure that I don't want that to ever dry up. And if it ever dries up, it's no good. So the grease is really good. Like I said, these bearings are in good shape, so let's keep them in good shape. And all you need is just a multi-purpose grease. Doesn't have to be anything special. Just get it good and greased up there. Just like that. And now we can start putting everything back together. Just grease off my fingers first. And I'm going to show you how to do that. We're going to put our brakes, like I said, we have to put them over our fender. If your fender is on, you want to be careful of it. You don't want to scratch it all, you don't want to scratch that all. So we're going to, if you notice that one's not scratched, and I took it all out, it's a little dusty. It's not scratched. So like I said, we're going to get ready to pop that back in. We're going to put our brakes back on, get our speed transducer run back up, and that's it. We'll start putting everything back on. We'll get the fairings and everything back on. So I'm gonna get this ready to roll over in place, and then we can start dropping down the, excuse me, the lift. And then we'll grease the top bearing. But right now we got this bottom bearing grease, so we're good to go there. And let's get it cracking. All right. So now we're gonna wheel over our forks. Sorry, just to get the camera kind of in place for show you what I'm doing. Okay, so now when we bring our forks over, I want to bend them down and then scoot them up. Now our brakes, gotta remember, have to go on the inside of that fender. just gonna go up nice and slow, like that. I'm gonna put my leg in the front so it doesn't fall down. Then I can lift my calipers up and over onto each side like this. Just like that. And our speech transducer goes there. Now, I can start bringing down my bike so that we can watch it go up there. So let's see. Okay. I'm gonna have to go back up a bit. Wiggle that underneath that bearing. And go up a bit more. There we go. There we go. And now we got the triple tree. You'll notice our bolt came up through the top. That's what we want. And then we can drop down again. I'm gonna grab my piece of wood there. So I can pull my tire first. Now once you get it up and that bolt is up through the center, just take a piece of wood like this and just chop your front wheel. Like that, so it doesn't roll forward. Right? Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna lower the bike down and we're going to keep an eye on our bearing right there to make sure it goes up right. So we'll slowly go down. And that's perfect right there. I don't want to go any higher. I don't want to go any lower. And if you look at our bolt right here, it's perfect. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grease the hell out of here. And then I'll get my bolt back on and we'll tighten that back up. And we want to put a healthy amount of grease on there. Too much grease on something like this is not a bad thing. There we go. All right. Now first off goes this cover. And goes our spanner nut. Here we go. Now we're going to do that same thing we did to loosen it. Oh, I forgot a part. Damn it. I hate that. I did too much of a rush. So we're going to take that nut back off. To put the top of the bearing back on. There we go. That's better. Nice. Now we can put our nut back on. bring it down finger tight again. And then we're going to tighten it up. Now to tighten it up, it's going to be the same thing as before with our screwdriver. Just take your time, tap this on easy. Now it's getting tight. You don't want to over tighten this, but you want to make sure it's tight. So when you tap it, it starts getting really hard, it's done. So there you go. That's all nice and tight. Now I'm gonna get my camera back in place, and we're gonna start putting the brakes back on. Then we'll get the top of our triple tree back on, get our fairings back on. We're rocking and rolling. Okay, so we're gonna go down now here, and we're gonna lift up right there, because we have to put our little bolt here back in here that holds our brake line in place. It's just a number 10, so we'll go ahead and we'll start it in the hole here. There we are. I'm not going to tighten that until I get my handlebars and everything back in place, so I can move that line up and down if I have to. Then we're going to come down and we're going to put our brake caliper back on. And you want to make sure your lines run on the back side of this, but over the inside of the triple tree. So over this side, but from the back here, so we can put our caliper back on. Now our caliper, you just want to make sure your pads are apart, so you can slip them on the caliper like that, just like that. And then we can go ahead and put our bolts back in. And we're just going to start the bolts. I'm not going to tighten them up yet. We'll tighten them up when we have them in place on both sides. That, and then we have to put our little bolt back in here. First I just have to find it. There it is. And again, we're not going to tighten that just yet until we get our other brake caliper in place. There we are. And that goes over the other side, so we're going to go to the other side now. We'll get our caliper in place. Our speeds transducer wire, we don't have to worry about that just yet. We're going to run it up with some zip ties in a moment, but we don't have to worry about it just yet. Again, this caliper is going to be the same. We're going to make sure our pads are spread out so we can get them onto the rotor. Like that. And then we go ahead and put our bolts back in. Again, we don't have to tighten them up tight yet. We're just going to put them in finger tight and get them started. that. I'm gonna take our little bolt. Make sure we put that on. There we go. There we go. Now we're going to just go ahead and tighten those off. You don't have to do it on, I don't have to do that on camera. Just get your sockets. I'm going to go ahead and tighten mine up, and then we'll start running this the speech transducer wire up so we can zip tie it. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten everything up. Like I said, just my brakes and stuff, and then I'll tighten up my 10 mil up at the top, and then we'll get ready to put our handlebars back on. Okay, so our speech transducer line, excuse me, we're going to bring it up and we're going to start zip tying it. First zip tie we can put right here. Okay. Then we're just going to keep going up here. We'll zip tie it again right here. Actually, I might go a little higher up. Okay. Then we're going to go to the other side because I want to plug it in. And I can figure out where I'm going to zip tie it on this side. And if you remember, our plug is right up under here. Not the side. Oh, it's here. There it is. Okay, so I got that. So I'm going to also zip tie it right here. You zip tie it, put it right here. There's a little place I can put it right here on the brake line, and then I'll plug it in. Okay, so I've zip tied all the way up. Now I just have to go up to my plug, which is right up here, and plug it in. Because this one has a digital speech transducer on it, so it's not, doesn't go to the back of the speedometer like the analog ones do. It's a little bit difficult to do with one hand, but we'll figure it out. There we go. There. Okay, let's push back up into place. So our wire can go back up now. And now that we have all our zip ties done, we can go around with our snips and snip off those little extra bits. Then it's time to put the handlebars back on and get the fairings back on, and we're all done. So we'll snip that off. I'm gonna go the other side. I don't have to snip those off on camera. I'm gonna snip them off and then get my camera in position to put the handlebars back on. All right, so now we can go ahead and put our handlebars back on. So they go on first. So we can go back, slip that over the top like that. And same thing on the other side. Like that. And then we can go ahead and put our top of our triple tree on. Oops. Now before we slide it down all the way, There's a little gold spacer that goes here, and you're going to want to make sure that you put that on first. I might have put my handlebars on. Yeah, sorry. So first on this bike, the handlebars go on, then the triple tree goes on. I messed this up. Sorry about that. Sorry. Now, take our handlebars off and put them on the wrong place. There we go. Now, our triple tree goes on first. And again, don't forget your little gold spacer. It looks just like that. It goes on first. Then we can put our triple tree down. There we go. Lock that bad boy in place, and then our handlebars go on after, just like that, and we'll tighten them up in a moment. So we want to put our big triple tree bolt back on. And I'll impact that on in a sec. And then we can go ahead and put our handlebars back on. And we'll set those up in a sec. I want to tighten this down first. I think it's a 22 if I'm not mistaken. First, I'm going to find where I put my 22, and then I'll break back. I don't know what I did with it. Hey, I found it. Alright, so now I'm going to go over here, and let's put this on. Like that. And now the top of our triple tree's on, our handlebars are on. I'm not going to lock them in place yet. I'll show you how to do that and how to line them up. So I'm just going to grab my Allen keys. Of course, if you drop it. Yeah. All right. So you're going to need your number 6. Now, to line up these handlebars, they actually line up perfectly with the triple tree. So if you're here and you line up your bolts there like that, and then you can also tighten this one so they're all the same. Don't do what I do. I just tap the tank there. I didn't want to do that. Tapping the tank is a good way to scratch your paint. So I do it again. I didn't scratch it, but still, it's just the point. You don't want to scratch it. So if that's all lined up, then you can start tightening these. There we go. Again, we'll just do the exact same thing on the other side here. Line it up with the other one. Tighten that in. And you want to make sure these are tight so that your handlebars don't loosen up while you're riding. But don't tighten them so much that you snap a bolt or strip one. Just when it gets snug there, that's it. So put this one in. Okay, now when we turn back and forth, it should be pretty close. If we have to adjust them in a tiny bit after, we can. That's not that big a deal. But right now we've got everything where we want it. So now we can go ahead and start putting our side fairing back on. I'm only going to do one side fairing with you. I'm going to do one side. Just repetitive. If I do the other, both sides. So we'll start actually on this side. On the left-hand side of the bike. And I'll get the fairing and we'll get started and we'll start putting it back on. It's not, like I said, it's not a very difficult job. We'll get it back on. Once we get it back on, that's it. We've changed the whole fork system from one bike over to another bike. Or we've changed the fork system on this bike. It's, you know what I mean? Like you've had to change it, whatever. But let's get started here. I'll grab the fairing. All right, so now we're gonna take this whole side fairing, we're gonna put it on. So we're gonna need our little tray of bolts here. Put that there. All right. So this fairing, we can go ahead and put it on. We're actually probably, I'm gonna take it off actually, the kickstand. Or sorry, the stand there, because I want to put the exhaust on first. So we might as well get the exhaust on, and then we'll put this fairing on. So let's do the exhaust first. Okay, so now we're going to put our exhaust on. I'm going to put the camera up a bit so you can kind of see everything on how I do this. All right. So here's our exhaust. All righty. So our exhaust slips underneath here like that. Yeah, you're gonna want to replace the crush gasket. I don't have one right now, so I'm gonna go get one right now from the parts department. I'm gonna grab one and I'll return. Just give me one second. So this is a crush gasket. You want to make sure and change this every time because it's a one use. So we're gonna just stick it in there for now. Stay. Yeah, I did. Okay, so now we can go ahead and put our exhaust up. Now we have to line up the front and the back and everything like that. That goes there. And our flange comes up here like that. We can go ahead and slip that on and then put our nuts on just finger tight like that. Just so we can move the exhaust if we have to. There we go. And I don't think we'll have to. We got our other bolt right there, so we can go ahead and put our bolt in right here. Again, just finger tight, like that. And then we can, actually I think I've got this wrong. Yeah, this actually goes on the back part of that, so I'm gonna let this hang down. On the back side, put that back there. There we are. There we go. Now the rear bolt, you gotta put it on. That. Now we can go ahead and put our nut on the back of there. Just like that. And then we can tighten everything down. Tightening everything down is easy. It's just a number 12 mil. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten them up. Like I said, it's just a 12 mil, and you can tighten them all up now. I'll get my my ratchet and we'll start tightening everything down. And they're all 12 mil bolts, so it's a nice easy one. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this off camera. Like I said, you don't need to watch me tighten up bolts. You guys can tighten up yours and we'll meet back here in a sec. All right, now we can go ahead and put the fairing back on. Once we do that, that's it. We're good to go. So we're gonna grab the fairing over here. I'm gonna put it on this side first. So now, all you're going to need is your number 4 Allen key and your Phillips screwdriver. Alright. And let's get our bike back together. Okay. So we can set up the camera here. Let's see. I want to make sure that you guys can see everything I can and where I'm going to be putting screws and things. So, right there. Now there's going to be one from the inside, and it's going to go to this one right here. So we're going to do it first. As soon as we turn it on there. Okay. All right. Just want to make sure everything's lining up right here. Oh, I think I'm forgetting a section here. Yeah, there it is. Before we put our big fairing on, we have to put this smaller fairing right here. Has to go on first. I'll show you how to hook up your signal lights. We're just going to leave the wire go through that way, like that. And that goes on like that. But I want to put, oops, that goes like that. Make sure that snaps in, and then we have the little screw goes right back here. It goes on first. So we're gonna want to crank our handlebars that way so we can get to that hole. Yep, there it is. And it's the first one that goes in there. Go ahead and start it with my fingers. There we go. There we go. So that one's in place. Now we can put that screw in place. Okay. Now, there's a bolt that goes right here. We're going to do it next so that it holds it in place. And that bolt has a nut on the bottom of it. And the bolt is actually a number 4 Allen key, so you want to get that out. There we go. And then there's a screw goes on the inside. I'll actually turn that way. Because there's a screw goes on the inside of the fairing right here too. We're going to go ahead and we're going to put it in. There we go. So now that this fairing's on, we can go put the other fairing, because you'll notice all these clips here, all those other ones clip into that. So you'll notice on this fairing, there's clip, clip, clip. And that's clip, clip, clip. So make sure the clips all line up and they snap on like that. Now we can rotate that back like that. Perfect. Now all of our fairing bolts can go back in. I'm going to start this front one. That's our number 4 Allen key again. And then we're going to take our bolt down here, or our bolt tray, and we're going to start putting all of our bolts in. Okay. Taking up the one at the front. Just like that. Okay. Another one. This one actually. Go ahead and put all down here too. Take that back that way. Clean up the nut there. Take that one on. And we'll come back to this one. Make sure that one's on nice. We're going to get it in place. Just like that. Now, we can go ahead and put the one on down here. And again, both of these at the bottom have nuts on them. So I'm just going to go finger tight with that one until I get this one in place. That. Okay, so those are both on. There we go. Now, all that's left to put on is this one right here. Okay. Put it up in place where it belongs. Like that. So there's a Phillips screw. That holds it right here. Then there's one bolt that goes here. There's our 4 Allen key.
And I have another Allen key down here. It goes into a clip. Just like that. And we have one more Phillips screw. It goes right underneath here. And that's it. Then you can put your seat back on. And you're good to go. Like I said, I'm going to do the other side of the fairing by myself. It's just repetitive if I put two of the exact same fairings on. So that's it though. Look at our bike. Looks beautiful. Triple tree. Everything's all nice up here. Everything's done right. And that's it, guys. So that is how you change your forks triple tree on your X22R. And I'm back because there's one thing I forgot to show you. So I'm glad that I left the side open. You'll notice I've already plugged in my signal light wires. So you just have to take your signal light wires that we left hanging down before, and you want to plug in your orange to your orange, and your green to your green, and your blue to your blue, and then your blue to your green. I haven't put this fairing on. I'm going to do that right now, but I just wanted to let you know that, guys. And left is always orange and green, and right is always blue and green. So that's something to remember too. And that's it, guys. So I hope you enjoyed the video.